We are on.
And we're on.
We are
So,
on.
so
Nine.
episode 9
I don't
still
know.
surviving, even though
Yeah.
only a few people are over there with us. So thank you. Once again, welcome to this weird talks that we are having over here. Hope it's bring something to you. Uh, I am Fernando. The other guy supposed to be named Giovanni. Ah, jeez, he is a little bit arrogant, so excuse him. Uh, so
No. I'm just the funny guy between
you're
us two.
you're you're,
So
you're the
come
funny
on.
guy. Okay, Mister
Say it
Funny
right.
Guy.
Say it right.
Yeah, yeah. So well, thank you again to come up over here in this ninth episode. Today will be delight, but a very interesting topic. We'll try to tackle it as best as we can. We are going to talk related to digital
Yes.
privacy and that kind of
Digital
stuff.
privacy.
Yeah, so Giovanni will introduce us later on. But just as every time we start, we like to say that what we are trying to do here is to provide some ideas, some approaches on our day to day on how to consume information, media, and how that can be a benefit for us, help us, but at the same time, how can we reinforce ourselves either mentally or even emotionally? Yeah, this is not a talk about safe spaces and that kind of stuff, but how to actually react to certain type of information and what to take from it. What do actually can we take from the information we consume? At the same time, um, a disclaimer is that we are not a specialist in many of these topics, and we try to work around the articles that we are interested. So we will be working with examples or ideas or experiences, and because those are infinite resources, sometimes we'll be miss something, or we might get a concept incorrectly, which we are glad to hear that
Yeah.
correct to read
To
that
receive
correction.
feedback. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So yeah, let's go
before,
down to business.
yeah,
Just
before,
before.
yeah.
Let's see. Let's see what will be just the topic, and then we will go to the articles.
Well, let me
So as you
just move
said
you a little
before.
bit. Yeah.
Sorry.
So before that, I will go past because as I was looking at your articles, so I will go ahead and show you. You will talk to us about this, but first I will go ahead and share with all of you a couple of the interesting articles. Usually, I try to bring something not super political or not very hard. Let's put it that way. But today was kind of complicated, especially because last week was this meeting for climate change of leaders. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of that. So this one, like the climate change will force us to rethink migration and asylum. This one talks very hardly on how climate change is one of the many elements that is provoking um, people migration. Um, in this case, obviously, like third world countries, migration, and that kind of thing. But obviously, that is not because climate change. It has to do with economics and the situations, the governance in on countries, right? But climate change here plays a big role because if you do not have the conditions, for example, in agriculture, you don't have the conditions to develop or produce, uh, people won't have jobs. People won't have an income. So what do? They try to migrate. So it's a very complex situation, and that is going to
Yes.
be an ongoing nightmare.
For example, that about this topic, it was on Friday, if I'm not wrong. There was this documentary about a tribe in North Kenya. I don't remember right now the name, and they're saying they were facing a lot of difficulties because previously, I mean, years ago, there was kind of a lack of water every 10 years. So every 10 years, there was this lack of water, lack of raining, and etc.
Yeah, yeah.
And now during our days, it happens every 2 years. So
Mm.
the things have changed a lot, and it is obviously building up concerns on how they will try to face these adversities and perhaps change their behaviors and where they live and etc.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's a very, very heavy topic, right? But okay, so that's one. The next one
mm-hmm.
is again, it's related. It's kind of related. It's granting zero deforestation in the Amazons by 2030. What got caught my attention in this one is that it's so sad, the unrealistic expectations that they try to set up. Because first of all, obviously, like most of the deforestation that is happening is illegal. Is illegal, which you won't be able to stop that thing, and it's painful to see this because this even removes credibility to the environmentalist efforts that are trying to be done. Like because obviously it's not like there's a there's actual collaboration amongst the countries that are involving, especially nowadays Brazil. Also, this article, something I kind of annoyed me was the fact that it talks every single time from the American Biden administration
Mm-hmm.
perspective. So like if the it's like if the United States is the one who needs to solve this issue, which is very
Yeah,
ridiculous for me.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, because I do understand that they play a very big role in the global economy, but I think it is even
but it's not
unfair.
about that. Come on, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not.
it can't be only about that.
And yeah, and you know something? There's absolutely no mention of other first world countries, like European countries and that kind of stuff. When in fact, they are also really highly involved in this kind of stuff. Like I think you brought it up in a couple episodes before.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the things that are happening in a third world country might not be
Mm-hmm.
consumed in the third world country. They are just
Of
extraction
course,
of natural resources, right? So yeah, so this one it was also kind of
yeah. I
both
mean,
articles were
I'm,
boggling.
yeah, yeah. I mean, what happened in Brazil, for example, like it was 2 years ago about that scandal that came out of deforestation in the Amazon just to to produce pills
Mm.
um, to cultivate and produce more
Palm oil.
vegetables and
Yeah.
etc. To sell them abroad. I mean, obviously
Mm-hmm.
to sell. It wouldn't be they wouldn't be used inside their own country. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just
Yeah.
exploitation of that part of the country to produce something that will be used for someone else
Mm-hmm.
external from the country. So yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of messed up.
that's,
So because those two were very
uh-huh.
serious matters, the last one even is linked to your topic.
Mm-hmm. Well,
The Japanese biker used a face app to trick the internet into thinking he was a young woman. Of course, because that's why we want to be using technology for, right?
mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. I have read about how all the algorithms modify people like very hard, right? I mean, you have all the filters and all the implications. Ooh, now that I think about the implications of beauty standards and that kind of stuff, we might have more reasons to bring our nice collaborator to talk about this kind of stuff, like
Mm.
all the modifications and that kind of stuff. So over here it was played as a joke, obviously, but at the same time it's kind of creepy because who are you actually talking with, and how the relations among people, especially virtually, are going to end up. So this one was just for jokes, right? But still creepy.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so those were my three articles. So now you can delight us
Let's go
back.
down
Yeah.
to business. So the topic will be
Which is related to
when I
this.
use.
Right now, sorry. Right now I'm just
Yeah.
showing. Right now I'm just showing the this first article. So go ahead.
Okay.
I'll change then. Yeah.
Yeah. No problem. So yeah, the topic will be, as you said before, will be related to digital privacy, online privacy, which is a topic that really came out strong with this pandemic. I mean, we all, in general, people built much more concerns on violation of privacy. So the right to have privacy and the right to maintain their privacy without being violated.
Mm-hmm.
And it obviously came out strong when it comes to digital tools. So everything that is related to owning your data, your information, etc., etc. So people that perhaps didn't even have any concern about that before the pandemic, with the pandemic came out
Mm-hmm.
very much strong. And so obviously this topic is faced differently in different parts of the world. For example, last week when it was on Wednesday, I don't remember, but the European Union, the European Council decided to start regulating the use of facial recognition that might be used only for the purpose of determining a person, say, determining minorities, a person's skin color, religious, or different aspects um, on the definition of the facial traits. And of course, uh, is applied also in businesses. So with hiring people and etc., all they wanted to do is to start regulating and start banning this kind of use of facial recognition. So while this is going on in Europe, we have on the other side, just to, to make people understand how it can differ on different places of the world with different government, etc., and different, let's say, actions that are taken. On the other side of the world, in China, we have this um, social scoring system that is under construction since 2014. It was supposed um, to be to apply on 2020, so last year,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't happen, if I'm not wrong, because they are trying to make a countrywide system. While it seems that they are still not handling that, they are not still succeeding at that, but there are some private social systems. So there are in some parts of the country, there are some either companies or some smaller governments, let's say some local governments that are putting to action this social credit system.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, why this example? Because we can see that privacy is deal different depending on the society where you're at and depending on your culture and etc. And aside that aside, as person being part of a society, okay, we have the interest and we are constructing more and more interest and concern about our right to maintain our privacy and not to lose um, the control of, of what is our information, our personal information. So in an article that I was reading about that, there is this sentence that I really like, that I think it sums up the whole idea of why we, I mean, about the concerns on this topic. And is to lose, why do we concern about privacy? Because it's the possibility to lose control of one's personal information is in some measure to lose control of one's life and one's dignity. So it really sums up the aspect on let's say, why people are worried about privacy. In my opinion, that's very much my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But this made something come to my mind, and we were discussing about this yesterday about the why. I mean, why do we concern? Like, for example, I will just bring my thoughts. Okay, so just my persona. So in my case, I have some concern about what businesses
Mm-hmm.
do with my personal data, just because I don't want to be bothered with advertising and with targeted messages and etc. That's, to be honest, that's the only concern I have, because I see myself as, say, an ordinary person. I'm not a politician. I don't have any position that could in which, if some personal information will spill out, I wouldn't be, uh, let's say, armed, okay, because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as we were saying yesterday, that's the fact. Um, why do we have concerns about this topic, about the possibility to be violated, our digital privacy to be violated? So just to bring a quick example, and then we start having a conversation and start having a talk on our thoughts. Just to bring an example on what happened, for example, during the pandemic in Italy. So had we have let's say we had this app. It's called Immuni. And
Mm-hmm.
it was used to track down the contagions and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I guess most of the countries they had their own app, and so it built up a lot of concerns of privacy, because of course you had to be geolocalized, so the app needed to know your position, where you were, in order to understand if you got in contact with someone that was affected. And so there were many people that didn't download it because of that, because of the
Mm-hmm.
concern or on having their privacy violated on that app. And this is something I don't know, I totally didn't understand, but this is just my point of view. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and I saw that many people that I know that didn't have any concern about digital privacy, once it became out to be kind of trendy, it was a trend because they were speaking about that, because there were mm, programs on TV speaking about that. They started to build up this uh, this knowledge and this awareness of digital privacy, and worried about that. So it's curious to see, obviously, as in many aspects it happens, how people they didn't know about that, they didn't have any concern. Now they know it exists, they build up a lot of concern, and they find a lot of problems about that topic. So I don't know if you had similar, let's say, similar situation in either Portugal or Mexico, or if you have any examples that can stick to the topic.
Well, there's a lot to unpack over there. Uh, so regarding the tracking app, I think in the US they tried to do it. Obviously, didn't would
Mm-hmm.
never work. Mexico tried them, fail. Portugal tried, fail. Um,
Italy as well.
but yeah, I mean, I think for what I understood here in Germany, it kind of take off. Yeah, it was
Mm-hmm.
okay-ish. Yeah. Uh, but that speaks a lot into the culture and trust of the people, right? Um, Americans will all be about uh, my freedoms and surveillance and yada yada yada, right? So no, Mexicans will follow mostly what the U.S. does, and especially
Yes.
looking at the perception that people have from its country, um, and also most of the people do not have access to digital, that kind of stuff, oh,
Okay.
cell phones and that kind of thing.
So they for sure
Portugal,
don't have any concern.
yeah. So, and Portugal, I would say that is was between the fear of being tracked and I think they are more chill, you know? They're more
Hmm.
chill, so they are more like we don't need this. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of different. And over here, my impression is that people in this country they tend to follow rules better. Yeah,
I
but
mean,
not,
yes, I
but it's
think
just
it
just
really
as
comes.
just an
Mhm.
impression.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I don't know. To what you're saying, for example, I think it really comes to the trust you have with that specific government, or the
Mm-hmm.
trust you have with your politician, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very
It
cultural
would
for
make
sure.
sense that, but then it's the question of why are we concerned about that
Yeah,
now?
that's the main topic.
Like, because I would guess that more than 50% of people do not pay attention. I mean, it's even a cliche, right? This is a stereotype or whatever. Like nobody reads terms and conditions. Nobody reads those things. So
Hmm.
people are, or we are accepting to terms that we don't even know and we don't even care. Yeah, we are very willingly, um, we are willing to give up our freedoms and our privacy in this case for commodity. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I don't have an issue that there's a device, an assistant that is constantly listening to me. Yeah. Because that this thing about like, oh, they might not be hearing you all the time. No, I mean it has. There has been reports that those things are collecting information for the
Yeah, yeah,
most.
for sure. Like if
Uh,
you try to speak with your cell phone when it's blocked, and you
yeah.
will see the
So
advertisement comes out in Facebook or Instagram. I mean, that's something that is already
yeah.
been said and
Then
everybody knows.
then if someone is okay with that, if someone is okay to provide information to a company, there might be a reason. I think governments have the bad reputation because it's the ones that we read about in history to being the ones to be the bad guys. You know, like when you hear about something going bad, you hear about a government, not a company. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and how many times nowadays companies have behaved in evil ways. I'll give you a very easy, very easy example. Any oil company. Yeah.
Hmm.
Any oil company. If we want to go digital, you have Facebook. So, but we are
Yeah, I was
okay.
reading right today that they failed, like Facebook and Google, they failed in avoiding the scam advertising. I mean, there is an ongoing, uh, there are ongoing issues every day with that.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
yeah.
while it is supposedly important to have protections of privacy, I will say it. Sometimes I do not understand what it is so important about privacy. Sure, banking accounts, and goods and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that is a very understandable concern
Yeah, for sure.
entirely. But but going back to the one of the articles that you have over here, just going to put it very quickly.
Hmm.
It literally says uh, the use of facial recognition for the sole purpose of determining skin color, religions, and other beliefs should be prohibited.
Hmm.
The EU is not talking about protection
Yeah.
of banking accounts and that kind of stuff. Yeah, is the protection of the
Just for
identity of the
yeah,
person.
it's like trying to avoid the stereotypization. Okay, so they use the
Now,
use of facial recognition in order to, let's say,
yeah,
maintain the
now
stereotype and creating groups and dividing and
there
creating
might be a
distances.
reason. Yeah, but there might be a reason why there are entities, companies, or whatever interest in this kind of information, because this is a type of information that somehow helps them to manipulate the masses. Yeah. And that's a
Sure.
most important thing, is that because they know that we are a reactionary animal, especially in herds, yeah, they know that if they can monitor, they can track this kind of stuff, they can apply certain policies or certain strategies to create a behavior.
Yeah. I
And
mean, yeah, please go on.
yeah, and well, it's like manipulating something like that is, I'm going to say something really ridiculous, but a lot of people back in the Trump administration were attributing his win to a lot of false information being spread. Was that not happening from the other camp, or the other camp was not intelligent enough to use those resources? So for us, at our level, the decisions taken at Titanic, very high levels, I
Mm-hmm.
think is ends up in a way irrelevant to us, because
Mm-hmm.
we will be participate of that, either we want it or not. Because unfortunately, very few times we take decisions individually and well thought. And even though, no, even that, no, no. Regardless, we might be thinking that we are taking that decision.
But we're not.
So it's a very
We are
horrible
influenced.
paradox.
We are very influenced anyway. So
Yes, there's going to be some kind of influence at the end. So
so
I really don't know. This is a no. It's a maze where there's no
yeah, for sure. I
exit.
mean, and look, with the digitalization of privacy, let's say, okay, so the building of concern that came the last say almost couple of years, right? 1 year, 1 year and a half. I mean, with all this pandemic and etc. And so with the building of awareness of the existence of privacy in a digital world,
Mm-hmm.
I think what happens is sometimes we lose track of what is actually mm, our personal information that is really of our interest to be maintained as uh, let's say hidden or not public. So what I mean is that we see anything that is of our persona, of our individual, as um, capable and interested of being say defended, okay, and not being used by someone else.
It's because
So
that's the thing. Yeah.
we are kind of thinking that everything is privacy. Everything. I mean, whatever is on the digital, everything can be used for what?
Mm-hmm.
And we lack kind of track of what might be for real interesting for us to be maintained, uh, for what we should maintain our privacy and what is not so important. And that's related to what you said, because we are influenced. I mean, we generally don't have that aware of our decision, of our thoughts. And as I said, we didn't know much a year and a half ago. We didn't know much about this. I mean, many people didn't know much about this digital privacy, this online privacy. It came out, okay, to be a topic,
Mm-hmm.
and it came out to be a topic because it was creating concern. The companies, how they started to use the data, and etc. So it came out already in a negative aspect, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I mean we got right away influenced. So we didn't know anything. It comes out, and it comes out in some negative association, let's say, and that's it. And then we lack of of capability of analyzing and understanding what's behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just, yeah, we are, as we're doing.
I think we need to continue in the next episode, or maybe we might be able to upload in the same week a second part of this, because right now our planned time is up.
Yeah, true. Let's go on, because I would like also to think
to expand a little bit more
the social scoring system. So
okay,
guys,
let's see.
This wasn't planned. Boom.
Okay, so
yeah,
we're going to leave a little bit open this part. So if whoever is listening to us or watching us, please tell us like what is privacy to you, and why is it important to you? So I think those are very interesting questions to bring it up.
And I will put some more meat on the fire. And why does it concern you if it is violated?
Okay.
I mean, this is a bit more
hard. Okay, fair enough. So we're gonna leave it like over here. We're gonna do a hard cutoff. And for now, we thank everybody.
Episode 9, part 1.
Part 1. Episode 9, part 1. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Until next one.